And here we go, Story Circle Tours, our Taupo Collectibles trip, part 1.
Hey guys, we're heading to the Taupo show, and some things that I wanted to try and get there are some Toki Doki unicorn figures. They're really cool, and I'm also looking for some pins that I can stick on my pin board, and also some Pokemon cards like Eevee cards and Mr. Mime cards. Really love those cards, and also any cards in general. Okay.
Alright, we're on our way to a Taupo Collectibles fair. It's just on 6:51 a.m. It is a rainy day, well it's not raining right now in Hamilton, and the weather is terrible up and down the country, but we're alright. So we'll grab some breakfast or grab some petrol, and me and Bea are road tripping down the country. Listen to some new tunes, it's going to be fun. We'll get to the show. Had to figure out what we're looking for. I don't know, a show like this. This is a brand new show. It's going to be lots of new sellers, some old, some new. What am I going to be looking for? Star Wars as always, but we're looking for some Smurfs, some Godzilla, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles if I can. I think highest on my list, it'd be cool to find, but probably not likely, is going to be some Brave Star figures, but we'll see how we go. We'll update as we go along. Alright, bye guys. Let's go, and here we are. We are at the Great Lakes Centre, rocking in from the car park. Exciting stuff, but after a couple hours drive from Hamilton, a couple of stops, slightly wonky camera, we are good to go. Here's Bea. Let's head to the venue. We get to catch the most important thing, the queue at the beginning of that. I believe they do have some early bird entry. They actually ran a couple of prize draws to do. I entered one. I think I forgot to enter the second one. But unfortunately they have some food trucks here as well. But it is well, I mean, it could be torrential rain. It could be worse, but it's Auckland weather here. Probably cut this section down or speed it up and record over it. But yeah, we'll see who's here. We'll get under some cover so I don't have to hold the gimbal and the umbrella at the same time. Here we go. Hey. Oh, fancy that. Hey Rochelle.
Hey, how you doing? All right. Fancy meeting you down here.
Yeah, I thought you weren't going to. Well, obviously you're not vending here, but
no.
But just coming for
a weekend.
Okay, I'll probably record over this, but this is Rochelle from world famous from Retrospace.
Hey, how you doing?
I was just tagging you on Facebook today because somebody was like, "Oh, up in Auckland, where to go for actual toys?" And I'm like, "Wow."
Yeah, there's only one place, eh?
Yeah. All right, let's have a look at the queue, Bea. Let's see how far the queue goes. Oh, here we go. And here we are, entry into the Taupo Collectibles event. This was really sweet. The staff took our payment before the event opened, so we were just able to roll right in there. They had a number of sellers outside. Pokemon Clan were there, Symbiote Collectibles as well. But we decided to head straight into the main hall here and do a little reconnoiter, a little recce. See all the sellers first and take you around. There's Jeremy from Arkham City Comics, a great store in Auckland. And as you can see, it's a pretty big space, but pretty full, well laid out, and all the sellers here. So take a look as we wander around the venue. And now we began the toy shopping in earnest, having looked through a bunch of the stands. It was a pretty impressive amount of toys here. That's us having a look at one of the stands that specialised kind of like in the Barbie dolls for soft toys, and everything Cabbage Patch dolls, Barbie, there's some My Little Ponies, which caught my eye. And I'm not a collector of My Little Ponies or Barbies, but I actually really appreciate the vintage collections and the vintage collectors for this kind of stuff. So I didn't look through the PVC figures they had here. I should have had a look at it. We were kind of scouting out for some toys for my youngest daughter Evie, who couldn't make it along. And we're going to pick up, actually, one of the first purchases of the event was actually a bag full of My Little Pony figures. Now this is one of the stands that initially we spent quite a while having a look through. They had a really good selection. I think the store's name is Retro Flashback, and they had some great toys. And I could have, and should have spent more money with these guys. They had some of the things I mentioned in the video before that I was definitely looking for Smurfs. They have a huge pile of Smurfs here. And did I come back? Did I, in fact, buy some Smurfs of them? No, I did not. They also had some decent wrestling figures here, and I'm not sure why I bypassed them almost completely. Here we go. That was our first purchase. $10 worth of My Little Pony figures for Evie, and she really loved them. She carried them around in a box the whole weekend we were away. Now on the shelf over here, it's not just that Batista in underwear that's in wrestling tights that is attracting my attention. In a second you'll see what caught my eye. This Qui-Gon and the Battle Droid. Why did not pick them up? I think one of the real stories from going to a big show like this is there's so many things that catch your eye, and because there's that many things, you often just bypass a whole lot of stuff, and it's only when you watch a video later on. Now, these caught my eyes. These are the Star Wars jigsaw puzzles. I saw one, and then the vendor picked out another two. So I was pretty excited. So these are one of the first things I decided to purchase. I didn't actually grab them immediately. I actually got them to put them aside for me. They very kindly did that because you put stuff aside for people, they never come back. But they chucked it aside for me, and it was towards the end of the convention that I came back and actually picked these up. And here we go. This was one of the first things that I actually saw, but funnily enough, one of the last things I purchased at the show. These were the Toll Toys 1977 Star Wars jigsaw puzzles. So this was the first one I saw, and then, as you see in the video, they pulled out two more. So I was really excited because anything that's this old is definitely very cool. You see they're well wrapped, and I have not yet actually even opened them up. I've been saving them for this video, so and I don't think I'm going to open them on these video, but I just wanted to show these to you. They're absolutely beautiful because look at the classic images. You've got Farm Boy Luke, you've got Chewie and Han in that kind of action pose, and of course the final one is two of my most favorite characters in all of Star Wars. There we go, C-3PO and R2-D2. So these are really interesting. Toll Toys was a company, an Australian company, but also they had a New Zealand subsidiary. And essentially in the late 70s and early 80s, they both licensed and distributed Star Wars merchandise. It's kind of fascinating, maybe a little bit dry if you're not a Star Wars fan. There's actually an excellent book on some of the Toll Toys stuff. It's called The Star Wars NZ Guide to Toll Toys New Zealand Vintage Star Wars action figure card backs. It's by a guy called Matt Glasgow. Matt's really cool. He and his partner run a excellent channel called Villa Varykino on YouTube, which I'll link to, and I'll also link to his book and the Star Wars New Zealand website. He's actually got a new book coming out all about Star Wars stickers and cards from 1977 through 1997. So I will open these up. They're a little fragile. I don't know if you can see there that it's definitely quite a bit of damage to the boxes, but we'll give us a chance to open this up soon. We kept on moving down the aisles. This stand in particular got me interested. They had a heap of Star Wars, so I was in heaven here. A bunch of Black Series, various prices, nothing special on the pricing, but I did get a good deal, well, an interesting deal from the stand. My daughter Bea also saw a bunch of Boba Fett stuff she was keen on, and found in the second you see there's a little Boba Fett clutch purse right there. She picked that up. Now, as I think I said on some previous videos, and on the little car ride, that I was, of course, going to pick up some Black Series. So, not to be disappointed, there's plenty of sellers with Black Series figures. This one was actually part of a bundle deal with the Toy puzzles that I picked up. So I picked this Captain Phasma. So this is the kind of Force Awakens version. There is also like a damaged armor version from The Last Jedi. So this was about $15 because we bundled it in with the puzzles, so I was quite pleased to get it so cheap. Probably the only downside of this one is, if you see here, is the armor is not really silver, like in The Force Awakens and the episode she appears in. It's really shiny silver, so this is more a matte, dull, silverish color. I mean, it is still a nice figure, and also I'm probably going to open this. The case is not in that great a condition, not so much that I want to keep it, and I would like to have more of my Black Series out on kind of display and pose, so she's definitely going to be an opener. One of the other ones I was happy to get for about $20 or maybe $25 was this Cosca Reeves from The Mandalorian. So you may just look at it and say, well, this is just another random Mandalorian character. However, the actress that played this was, of course, the boss, the legit boss. It was Sasha Banks from the WWE. She was with the WWE at the time. She's now with AEW and known as Mercedes Moné. So I want to open this one as well, just so I can, I believe, unlike some of the other Mandalorian figures, her head is actually under there, and the box is not such, well, I mean, it's pretty fine condition. I could keep it sealed, but I'd like this one on display. She's part of Bo-Katan's team, well, clan Kryze, so it'd be nice to have her on display. Now, for the last one, I might even do another short video on this one, but this is the Boba Fett white prototype armor. So this is kind of like a throwback, because originally, I believe, some of the designs of Boba Fett, he was like a super trooper and had all white armor. So they released this in Black Series. I think there's at least a couple of versions of this. So I was quite keen to get this. So originally the seller had 75 listed on this as part of a deal with another piece. I got this for about $40 and took it home. And it wasn't until I was getting ready to do this video that I noticed something, because I was like, well, it took me a little while, but if you might notice there, that doesn't say Star Wars. That says Star Wars. You'll notice there's a whole lot of information missing here. Same as on the bottom. It doesn't even say Boba Fett on the barcode, which you should usually do. The back, while it does have some of the Boba Fett image and the little blurb or description of him, is missing a whole lot of other stuff. It says it is, in fact, made in China. What I have actually found, and slightly the box is a bit damaged, is a bootleg. This is my very first Star Wars bootleg, and I was going to open this. I'm kind of ecstatic. I cannot believe I did not miss the fact that this was a Star Wars figure when I first picked it up. Makes me wonder if a person had other bootleg figures, because maybe I didn't pay the same attention to some of the other figures I had. So I'm really pleased to get this. So I did find some reviews of this figure. Most of these bootleg figures are actually made in the same factories, so that's why it is quite similar. And basically, the reviews I've seen of this figure is that it's pretty spot on. There may be some of the paint application and stuff like that isn't up to par, but generally, yeah, these are made by the same companies that make the actual figures. So I'm very happy to have my first Star Wars figure, and it'll be Boba Fett. So that one I was planning to open, not going to open it anymore. So yeah, welcome to my collection, my first bootleg figure. I'm actually doubly happy to have it now. Once again, I found a pile of Smurfs. Once again, for some reason, I barely touched them. I mean, that rugby playing Smurf would have been sweet. The one with the lantern would have been sweet. This was it the book? Here we go. The tennis playing Smurf. Why did I not pick them up? I'm not exactly sure, but I moved on from that table and never returned. One of the other good things about the show was there's a real good presence of different pop culture stuff. So initially those big LGN, big rubber guys, those figures that attracted my attention, along with some Thundercat stuff there and some pops. But this was a store called Bea Breaks, and they did have some toys there. I think in a moment Bea's going to pick up that Gengar, which is a favourite of one of our good friends. Well, I believe it's Gengar. And amongst sports cards, they did have some wrestling cards. So I was pretty excited to see what they had. They were really nice, and we had a look there. If you don't know wrestling, then you should. I'm a huge fan of pro wrestling. But I didn't pick anything up. You can see there's Undertaker, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, there's Cody Rhodes, one of the great baby faces of our time. There's a cool IRS signed card there. I scanned over here, there was even more. There was a couple of some of the big stars of wrestling today. There's a Seth Rollins there, which was a fine price. However, his signature is trash. As you see there, sometimes not all signatures are the same. There's a beautiful one by Charlotte, and if I had wanted to put $100 towards cards, I kind of regret not picking this one up. We moved on. Of course, the Lego was well represented at the show, I feel. There could have been more, but this table had a great little selection of minifigs. Now, I don't really remember these figures. I've seen them before. The figures are nice, but the packaging, definitely not up to what I think of Star Wars packaging. But a good selection of pop merchandise here. One of the other sellers that I will get onto the video a little bit later, onto part 2, is Symbiote toys. They were really great. I picked up a really good Star Wars piece from them. I was happy to see. Now over here, I did pick up the Cosco Reeves Black Series figure. Again, they had these really cool Black Series, I believe they're called centerpieces. I didn't actually realize they put out 3. I only remember the Kylo Ren one that you can see there. Oh, and that's us diving into the Pokemon stuff. There's a Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. B picked up a little Pikachu pin from that stand, which was a really great deal. But yeah, those centerpieces, I didn't even inquire on the price. But yeah. Here was another cool stand. This stand had a really good selection. They had Star Wars, they had Transformers, they had Masters of the Universe. I did have a look through some of their Star Wars stuff. There's Supreme Leader Snoke, who I remember to be a peg warmer for years and years. Unfortunately, a couple of the figures that I really wanted had big farmers labels on them, and I was like, I've tried to take those big labels off before and not been successful. The cards were good, and the one thing I've learnt is that you've got to be satisfied with your purchases. If there's like a little doubt that you might not be happy with it, just don't get it. You don't want to have those kind of regrets. I've made purchases before, and they kind of haunt you in a silly kind of way. So I looked through their Star Wars, but I wasn't going to pick anything up, and I was being pretty picky that day. We still had a lot to go through, and a lot of the Powerfuls they had, which again is something I'm collecting. I already have picked up most of these figures. And some of them had yellow cards, and again, I'm going to be picky with my mom stuff. It's got to have really beautiful cards, or it's just no purchase. I think I was tempted by that layer, but the card wasn't in the best shape. So yeah, I passed on that. However, in a minute, we're going to scan through the rest of their table. There's some good old Phantom Menace, and I will get a full set of that again. I had a full set. I went to the midnight toy openings when it released. There's a Princess Leia that I kind of wish I had. I will get that figure one day. So here you go. They had some loose G.I. Joes there. You're going to see some He-Man and Masters of the Universe. I'm not into He-Man at the moment. Maybe one day there is like the battle damage characters that I'm real tempted by. They're the ones that have like a little, their armor kind of flicks, so it's normal, then it flicks to damaged. Maybe I'll pick up a couple of those. There's something I'm kind of experimenting with picking up a few characters from from different toy lines, just as like good examples, like not diving deep in there. Look, they had some Star Wars. This was actually a set I do want to get, but at $250 at the price tag, I couldn't justify it. That would have taken up like a massive chunk of my budget for the event, and I couldn't do that. Not at that stage. They did, however, have some sweet Simpsons stuff here, and we're going to get to that in a second. I actually kind of like that simple Simpsons set there, the action figure set, but they had a really big selection here. So they had some really good pop culture items. So yeah, we'll get to my purchases from this stand shortly. And a nice thing is this seller also had FCOS, so it didn't need to splurge on the cash. All right, now we come to one of my last purchases of the day. I'm a huge fan of The Simpsons, and I saw these guys, and I couldn't resist. So these are all Simpsons PVCs. Mostly I got these, are called Simpsons Greetings from Springfield series. Most of the figures I got were from series 2, called Krusty Lou Studios. These are quite nice because they even have the little tabs still attached. So this first one, of course, is the murderous sideshow Bob with an axe, looking very, very relaxed. Then, of course, here we go. His replacement, Sideshow Mel with a little whistle. These are fantastic little figures, and just with the PVC and their size, they just really accurately capture, like, the Simpsons. And I've been a huge fan. I remember watching the first episode when I was a kid. Here, of course, we have the chimp, whose name I have forgotten. I don't think it actually says the characters' names on here. Mr. Teeny. Of course it does. So there's Mr. Teeny. This is a cool little figure on his little bike. We go, Mr. Teeny, go down there. Sorry for forgetting your name. And we have the man himself, Krusty the Clown. So, yeah. So you'll see here, this was a theme. I decided the seller had a lot of these little PVCs, but I kind of decided to theme my purchases with the exception of one figure. And here we go. Here we have Krusty the Clown again. So this is from the Clown Homer episode, where Homer becomes a rip-off or a franchisee clown, and of course they get chased by the mafia. So this is the little bike. This is absolutely cool. So yeah, so 2 Krusties. Now, the one figure that I did get that was not from the series was, of course, Batman. So Batman's from Series 5, called Captain Courageous. I have to do a little bit more research, but I would like to fill these out. I think these will fine on my shelf. There is my Batman figure. So this is one of the last things I picked up, and you'll notice I probably had about $30 left. So that's why I picked up 6 figures. I think it's a good little selection. But, I'd like to get a Rod and Todd and an Edna Krabappel. So, yeah, I will go back to the seller and see what else I can pick up. But, yeah, I think that was one of the very last things I picked up at the show. So I can't wait to clear some space on my shelves so I can fit these guys. And that's it for part 1 of our Taupo Collectibles show video. I'll have the part 2 ready for next week, so join Bea and I for some more adventures at the show. Definitely some cool purchases coming up, as well as a whole bunch of video from the show. Please, drop us a like, a comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. This is Story Circle Toys signing off, and we'll see you next week.